All right.
Hi.
Yeah. Hey, good morning or good evening. All right. Another open source office hours kicking off. We'll start as usual with some announcements. First off, do you guys, anyone here want to make some?
No, we don't have this week any.
I'm just waiting to get to the questions, right? All right. So don't have any big announcements from Lev or anything, but I was looking through the mailing list, the Derby mailing list, and there were some components announced not too long ago for basically leaflet and mapbox wrap. One Russell and Derby Party, and then somebody also took the code snippets that we put out around rendering templates, kind of outside of the context of a normal app, so that you could render emails, for example, and they made Derby render and Derby email components. So I'll put those in the summary when we post it later. And oh yeah, there's the D component palette as well. Um, so hopefully all of those will make it into the component examples repo soon. So that's all I had for announcements. I think we can jump straight into the questions.
Okay, so I guess we're going to start on telling that we had a big load test this week. So we tracked down a couple of errors in ShareJS and in WebSockets implementation that we have used. I have actually made a guess about all these errors.
Were
The
you able
error
to like fix them, or did you just find them?
found and fixed a couple of them. So like there were some of them were in our code, of course. But one important one is in ShareJS. ShareJS uses Express 3.0, and our project we migrated it to Express 4.0, and because of that we had like two Express versions overwriting each other, and there were some nasty errors uh, because of it. Because it was trying to use this Express inside of ShareJS. So ShareJS has a REST API, which we don't use, and I don't know if Derby, like, do you use REST API of ShareJS? Yeah, so we just forked it and just got rid of this Express.js of the REST API in ShareJS, and then it started working fine with Express 4.0.
That's interesting. So that's unfortunate that the two interact. Do you Was it that the REST API was being loaded no matter what? Like it was always running?
Well, I guess like the Express, it changes some native Node.js functions, like request responses. It overrides something, and
Oh,
probably like it was just overriding the stuff from the Express 4. So like Express 4 was plugged in earlier, then ShareJS was plugged in, and it was overriding some default Node.js stuff.
I see. That's really bad. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, so another thing, we had something with an authentication library. We used Derby login, and it was writing on a request. It was writing something into the modal. It was fetching and then unfetching the user's document with the authorization information. And because of that, we had problems with, uh, let me see, document already exists. It was trying to write into the document which was like already, which it wasn't subscribed for. So there was this case when we had to like deploy our server, so clients got disconnected for some time, and then when they were reconnected back, it wasn't it wasn't authorizing them as it should. So the authorization was like some troubles with it. So we fixed it by just not writing into authentication anything, and only writing the like session stuff like user ID, and that's it. So like keeping information that we write into session or we write into model as low as possible.
So you're saying that you got the document already exists error when you wrote to a document that you weren't subscribed to?
Yes, and it was like it was supposed to be subscribed on it, but somehow it wasn't working right. So it was doing it on a server side. It was fetching an authorization document and then writing something to it, then unfetching it on the server side.
Okay.
And because of that, something was not working right.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that the error message wasn't wrong. So
yeah, it wasn't wrong because then we also forked share and livedb and everything to track down these errors. So we just outputted more information about the document that had this because of what like the document that was causing this error. So we got the output of this document, and then it was easy to track it down. Like we understood that it was an authorization issue, and so I can actually show you this part of code which wasn't right.
Sure. So so the code was in the authentication.
Yes, in Derby login library.
Okay. All right. Well, I would be interested, but I just wanted to make sure that the share error wasn't wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So like another kind of error is the same one that we had last week, where it got operation from future. This time we tried to track it down, and actually on the server it wasn't showing anything for 2 times out of 3 that we got this error. So like the thing is, it was writing the uplog, the right uplog version to the database. So the Mongo has the uplog version, but all of the clients, they didn't have it. So like we had like 4,200 version, and it wasn't sent to clients, but it was inside the Mongo. So like when they reload their browsers, it was fixed and it was working fine. And like we had it like for 3 times this week, when there was like really big load, about 70 people changing the same document at the same time. So probably some kind of a race condition. And there's also some database dump on it, but I looked through it and like the database dump looks good. Like there was nothing fancy.
Okay, so what exactly happened with the error? Can you like go through the steps?
What?
Could you go through the steps of the error? Like what? How did you notice the errors?
There were 70 people playing the same game. They were changing the same document that has this game information, and changing this simultaneously. And at some point, so it was around like, well, a lot of changes, of course. Like we had about like 6 versions of a single document. We got to like 6,000th version of one document in about like 40 minutes or so, or even less. And like starting to the end of the game, like when we had like 4,000 or something like this, we started to get this error. And we had it once, then we had it in another game, also at the end of the game. But I don't think if it's linked or not. It's probably just because lots of people were trying to change the same stuff.
Yeah, but that's specifically what share is supposed to be able to handle.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, that's it. So like right. So there was just one version that wasn't published to all clients.
Mhm.
And so like it was 4,319 version,
Yeah.
and like all of the clients, they had the next one for 4320, and like right after that it wasn't like this old version was just lost, and they didn't get it after that. And it was just a lot of those God operation from future. They was just spamming the client console. And the only thing that helped it is to just refresh the page. So the actual oplog, it was in the Mongo. It wrote itself well. It was just not published. It somehow it didn't publish the one of the versions to all of the clients.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there were just no errors on the server side. There was like once we had a server side error, like about a minute from when we got this error on the client side, but other 2 times there were no errors.
Got it. Yeah, there's probably a race condition with something having to do with publish not always getting the operation and publishing it correctly, which could probably be fixed, but it looks like it's happening on a very, very rare basis. So probably the better thing to do here to fix this would be to just, if this error happens, be able to get the versions that were missed. So I think like probably a pretty simple thing to do would be to just have the document completely reset itself up, so it could just like resubscribe, like unsubscribe and resubscribe. A more like a faster way to do it would be to just like have a special message to get the versions, but I don't think Share has that right now, although Joseph would know, of course. So yeah, that should just be fixed in Share, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was like one really nasty error that we had experienced. Everything else was like fixed.
Got it. Yeah, that's definitely a problem. So yeah, we should fix that.
It's actually not so rare, because we had it 3 times out of 3. We had like 3 times when we had like 70 people, so a lot of people. When we had like 20 people playing the game, it was fine. When we had like 60 and more, we had 3 games, and all of those 3 games, they crashed.
Sure. What I mean by rare is rare relative to.
Yeah, to the usage. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually fixable. Got it. And then so for now, like, what are you doing when you get that error?
Just like a trick. Very silly workaround. Just we overwrote a console warn to get when we have this text like got operation from future, and we force reload the client side.
Okay. All right. Well,
it works fine.
Sure. Okay. Got it.
But of course, it's not a solution.
Nah. I mean, whatever. It works. Okay. Got it. Yeah, so that should definitely be fixed. This corrupt data detected thing, did you mention that yet?
Yeah. So I guess Yes, so the first link I sent, it's the error 0,
Yeah.
corrupt data detected. It was just like when we um, so like we made the workaround to reload the clients automatically like later after we had those 3 times with this operation from future happening.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those times we didn't shut down the servers. We didn't reboot the server after we got this operation from future. And after about a minute, this error popped out on the server side about the corrupted data in document. And then the server just stopped responding on anything. So it didn't break, but it just stopped responding.
Are you stopping the server from crashing when it errors?
Yeah, so probably it was just a fatal error. Yeah, we stopped it with the domains, so probably it didn't break because
Well, this is why you should let the server crash.
yeah, yeah, that's actually on our list. That's why we're also setting up the cluster system
Okay.
right now, so to have this better error handling.
Okay. So it sounds like the thing that caused the client to not get the version may have also been involved in the server state being messed up.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Okay. Maybe that's why the client didn't get the version altogether.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. Yeah. So like we fixed
Was it the same document?
Yes, the same document. Yeah.
Yeah.
We fixed like all of the other errors. So like the only error we get right now is it's either this operation from future or it's caused by the operation from future.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I see. Well, if the server-side thing is happening, that might be the root cause of the reason why the version's not getting there. It also should, in my opinion, recover better from that state automatically. So I'd say that's important to do anyway. But I wonder if this problem that's happening on the server is important separately. So did this happen 3 times?
No, it happened only once, and after about a minute after all of the clients got this operation from future.
Oh, but they were all looking at the same document.
Yes.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So.
Oh, well, wait, no. There were three different games.
Oh, but so some of the games got the operation from the future, but did not have this.
Yes. 3 different games. Each of them got the operation from future, but some of them didn't get like only one of them got this server side error.
Okay. All right. Then maybe they're not exactly the same thing, but that's good to know. There may be 2 issues. Okay. Got it. Is there
yeah. Also, we had another error caused by the run WebSockets run plugin. We plugged in WebSockets library in a wrong way into the racer highway. Because of that, when there were some race condition on a server side, when the disconnected client tried to connect again, it was sometimes throwing an error, which actually was meant to be handled in a right way. So like the WebSockets library handles it well, but it handles it well only if you provide a callback. So like without a callback, it just throws an error and crash in your application. So we fixed the racer highway and we like tested it with lots of games by now, about maybe 20 of them. So I guess racer highway is we can tell that it's production ready, and you can also try to test it.
Yeah. So is it? did you notice any difference in terms of its performance versus browser channel?
Well, the one thing I know is that when we had a browser channel, we also got the separation from future ones. So in terms of this, there are no differences.
Sure.
In terms of performance, I don't know. We didn't do any measurements actually.
Okay.
But if you look on it, like just measuring it on like from the eyes perspective, it's now working faster. So like when you type something, another person gets it much faster.
Makes sense.
Especially when there are like 6 students changing the same text field.
Right. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it should definitely be faster, but I was wondering whether you could tell. Sometimes you can't tell.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, all that's actually really helpful. Cool. I might try and integrate WebSockets into our app at some point soon, since for a variety of reasons that would help things on our end too. Though we have to make sure it works with our load balancers, which is a whole other thing.
How do you think we should load balance WebSockets?
It depends a lot on what you're using.
We started to make clusters on a core OS. Did you hear about it?
No, but
it's like the OS which is specifically designed to run the Docker containers.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, if you're just doing it on one server, you can just use Nginx, Varnish, or even a Node process to load balance Node cluster or Node proxy. We are currently using Varnish because we want to load balance across multiple services as well as processes that run the same service. I haven't really seriously evaluated the other options, so I can't tell you if that's the best one or not, but that's what we're using. And then in terms of load balancing WebSockets in particular, the tricky thing is just that a lot of hosts don't support it or didn't support it until recently, and so like they have different kind of ways that they work. So like Amazon's load balancers, last I checked, didn't support WebSocket load balancing via like their HTTP load balancer. They only support it via their TCP load balancer, which means that it has less visibility into what the traffic is. So I haven't looked at it in like a few months, so I don't know if that's still true.
Like we decided to do a custom one. We use the DigitalOcean, so we installed this CoreOS on like 3 machines. And as a load balancer, there is a program which is called VulcanD for CoreOS specifically, written by Mailgun guys. And it also allows you to like load balance stuff and to do the either rolling updates like rolling deploy or a hot switch deploy, so you can like instantly switch your version, your application to the newest version. So like we'll try to figure out how to set it up in the right way. Well, of course, WebSockets will be probably the hardest way to set up.
What's that module called?
What?
What was the name of that module?
VulcanD. VulcanD.
VulcanD?
Let me send you this one. And yeah, and the operation, the CoreOS stuff is like this one. It's like specifically designed for like running Docker containers, and they say that it's like faster, prettier, and cooler, and it takes 40% less memory usage. So we'll see.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other topics?
Yeah. Go over. One was somebody noticed that, or they're trying to use unique indices in Mongo, and if they did a model.set or model.add with with a document that violated that unique index, it would throw an error, but they didn't see how they could actually respond to that error in their app. Because Mongo throws the error, and then it gets maybe piped back to the client, but do we expose a way to be aware that that's the error?
I have no idea what happens to the error, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, this might be more of a Joseph question.
I don't think Joseph would know either. The error goes somewhere. It probably gets passed back all the way to the client, but I don't really know because I've never actually tried to do it. So I know Joseph wouldn't know either.
Oh, okay.
It's just not something that we've purposefully ever used. So I have a feeling the error gets back to the client, but I don't know. And it is really not a good way to do these things because basically the error committing to Mongo is going to happen after it's already gone through and done the operation in Redis. So it's not really ideal to have Mongo be the thing that decides that you can't commit the uniqueness, ideally. So I guess I'd have to know a bit more about the use case, but ShareJS isn't really optimized for this kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Maybe I should put the thread.
Another one somebody had, they were trying to use multiple stores, but they were using multiple stores with the same databases, so both Mongo and Redis. Not sure why, but they were saying that when they did this, a model created from one store, if you're subscribed to that, let's see. Model created from the first store will start throwing invalid snapshot data errors when data is subscribed to is changed in the second store. Is there something inherently wrong with connecting to the same databases from two different stores, and I guess in the same process?
Well,
it's a little silly.
Dennis is with us right now. We can ask him. Oh, we can't hear you. No, still no sound.
Hey, Dennis.
Oh yeah, this is Dennis's question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, man. We can hear you, I guess.
So
Can you say something?
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was trying to fix it. Sorry, this is my first time on Google Hangouts, so I was looking to see if there was a way to chat with text.
There is both. Maybe that's confusing.
A little blue icon in the top left.
Oh, okay, I see. Anyway, yeah, my use case was basically I have a task manager that runs in the background, and I wanted to be able to update the database, and it runs on a separate server and everything, so it would have been easy just to fire up a new store. So that was basically the only thing. What I ended up doing instead was just making the main server have an API that the task manager could communicate with. But
Oh, it should totally work if you have two different servers configured to connect to, or two different processes configured to connect to the same Redis and the same Mongo server. It'll work just fine. Like we have a bunch of different servers that have their own processes, like have multiple processes that all connect to the same databases, and that's kind of the whole point of Redis server. That's why Redis is in the mix.
So then maybe something else is going on. Yeah, basically what was happening was any data that I changed that a model was subscribed to was saying invalid snapshot data in the console, the browser console. And then the site would hang, and I'd have to refresh the page.
Yeah, at that point, if that kind of stuff happens, usually I just drop all the stuff that's in Redis, because sometimes the data in Redis gets inconsistent with the data in Mongo, and then you get stuff like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would try just flushing the Redis database and see if that fixes it.
Okay, I'll do it.
Dennis, I have a question for you actually.
Okay. Shoot.
You have a I think that you tried the making the Derby on a mobile with a phone gap, right?
Yeah. So that
How
was
did it work for you?
All right. So I haven't tried it with 0.6 yet. I've been meaning to do that. It was kind of hackish. Basically, what it would do it would take you'd run like your Derby server or whatever, and then it would hit your server and get the request, and then dump that inside of like a phone gap index.html file, and it parsed it a little bit because there's some things that, and I don't know if this still holds true, but ShareJS was trying to do at the time, like it would ping Google to see whether or not you were connected and things like that, and it had to tweak some of the URLs to get it to work in PhoneGap. But yeah, I don't know if it still works. I have to check it in 0.6, and it was really just an experiment more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just something Browser Channel does, the whole pinging Google thing.
Yeah. Do you guys actually, now that we're talking about that, do you guys have any plans to work with local storage with Racer at some point?
I mean, far away plans.
Far
yes.
away, okay. Yeah,
plans, no.
Okay.
The theory is that it should be awesome, but it's going to be a ways.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah. It's a bit tricky to like do all the synchronization stuff where you like automatically figure out what people want and then make it so that you can do queries on it is another thing, and like have the same API that the server would provide. So there's a number of problems to it, but that is one of the things that, in theory, using an OT-based system should be really awesome for. So there's some steps along the way to get there, but in the long run, it's definitely part of the hope that we'll get to a point where everything just works offline and it's magic and awesome.
Awesome.
Well, welcome to the Hangout, Dennis. I haven't seen you before.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to hop on. I was kind of hoping that I could be anonymous and just watch. I wasn't expecting to start participating, but.
You gotta jump in there, man.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot like that, but
no, it's okay.
Better. Yeah, so there's another question on the list. Nate, this is a Derby one. So someone was trying to make a component, or they're trying to pass in the result of a view function to a component. I just place it in the text. And they were surprised that
does not work.
Huh?
That won't work, right?
Right. Yeah, because they wanted this to recalculate when page.variable changes.
Yep, it won't work.
Right.
It's just Derby's bindings are still kind of a mess. Like, I made them better, but in this particular case, it just won't work. So That's unfortunate, but true. What I typically have been doing is just passing in the kind of basic data into the component, and then the component does whatever computation it needs to do internally.
The other thing I'll also know is that sometimes we use model FN for this, right? Model start.
Yeah, you can do that too.
All right. Yeah. So they pointed out that this seems like it would work. Do we think that eventually, like when you get a chance to improve the bindings, you would make this work, or is this just kind of like?
Yeah, I consider it a bug. It is not something that's easily addressed given the way the code got written. Like it's kind of an iterative process, and in this version of rewriting things, I think I got to a much better syntax and got to fix a lot of the problems that components had at like the high level, but the bindings are not as like all the way there as they need to be. So basically, the way that events get propagated in bindings needs to be generalized more, because right now there's sort of two different mechanisms that drive it, and the reason why there's a lot of weird edge cases like this is that they have their limitations, and there really needs to be one mechanism that drives this whole thing. So it just really needs a rewrite. I know what needs to be done, but it's a pretty big project. But it won't change the API. It'll just make these things work.
Got it. Cool.
Well, that's a good question, and if I understand it correctly, I also sticked with this. As I understood, they want to recompute some value, and when some value has changed, so it reacts. So my hacker solution was just to track change on page variable. In this case, page that variable. I just made on page that variable on a view, and it worked. So
yeah, you can do that. In fact, we've done that in a few places in our app just to work around bugs like this. Unfortunately, this is just a bug, but that won't be fixed right away. But it does look like it should work, and I agree it should work. It's just a lot of it's not a small thing to fix.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's actually all the questions I had from the mailing list. So I don't know if we have any more here.
I guess like I wanted to point out some stuff. So like we recently started to refactor parts of our application to use, instead of a plain set, to use a set array diff and set diff and set diff dip, and it really helps. So like I think that a lot of people just don't know about it because it wasn't documented anywhere, but it's a really good point to point. So like use set diff and set array diff when it makes sense, because it ups the performance really big way.
Yep.
How does that deep work?
Go ahead.
It checks whether you have the same document or not, and it sets only those part that has changed.
Okay.
Have changed.
Yeah, if you go and read the code, it's actually pretty.
Yeah, there is like they Nate added a file for this stuff particularly. It's called setdiff.js in Embracer. He edited it silently without telling us.
I wasn't sure how it was going to work at first. That's why I moved things. I needed some time to make it better before everyone found out about it. Yeah. Here's the file in case you're curious. You can see what all the functions are.
Oh, okay. Cool, thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just a bunch of different functions that are different varieties of setting functions, but more or less, set diff will set two things. It will set only if the value is different than what it is right now. Deep will do a object equivalence test, and if it finds an array that's different, we'll do an array diff. Array diff will only do an array diff, so it'll assume that the thing you're setting is an array.
Awesome.
An array diff deep will check the items in the array to do an equivalence test. So that's that.
Oh, I had a question. It's a little off topic.
That's why we're here.
I was wondering if there was a way to attach some sort of token with each request. Like, say you wanted to do, instead of using cookies or something, use a bearer token with auth. How would you do something like that?
It's for what? For auth?
Yeah, mainly for auth.
I mean, well, why wouldn't you just use something like, I don't know, like Passport or something?
Oh, I mean, yeah, you could use that. I was mainly just thinking about mobile apps, trying to avoid using cookies.
I see. So to be honest, I'm not an expert at this stuff, but I think the reason why you need to use cookies on the web is that there's security implications to letting the browser be able to see some of the data in JavaScript, and so you want to use like a server set cookie so that JavaScript can't access it, or maybe can access it but can't modify it or something like that. Like I said, this is outside of my domain expertise,
okay.
But you could probably find this answer on Stack Overflow. And then on a mobile app, if you have your own kind of like, if people can't just inject random scripts into it, I think that you don't have that problem because you're not worried about like random code running that can access it. So the only thing though is you wouldn't want somebody to have a client that could connect to your server that looks like your app. So you need to use some sort of signing in order to send that kind of stuff in the clear. And you'd also want the traffic to be encrypted. So I guess the basic gist is you need to make sure that you kind of cover your bases in terms of like, why do people use cookies? Like what kind of security things are they trying to get at? They want to make sure you can't like pretend to be a client, and they want to make sure you like all the traffic that goes back and forth should go like over TLS or HTTPS or whatever. Yeah, I think that's the gist of it. So as long as you have all the right characteristics, it's a secure system. But I'm not gonna explicitly be able to give you a recommendation on how to do things securely because it's like I'm not a cracker. I don't actually know.
Like let's say in theory you were over HTTPS and you got a secure token and you were able to, I don't know, make sure that client-side code wasn't injected by some other third party. Mm-hmm. Would there be a way to attach that to all of the requests that browser channel sends back to the server?
I think there is, but browser channel on mobile is like honestly not that great anyway. Like mobile has very different latency characteristics than terrestrial internet connections do. They tend to be much higher latency to establish a connection. So you're really better off using WebSockets anyway.
Okay.
Also, there is one very nasty thing using browser channel on mobile, because if you use it in iOS limits it to only one active connection at a time. So browser channel uses long polling to do this, to establish the connection between server and client, and you won't get your images from the server until your connection is active, and it's basically all the time. So like your images just don't get loaded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. So you're better off using WebSockets on mobile. Long and short of it.
No, it's good to know.
Yeah, so I think like if the WebSocket stuff is working well, we might even want to switch the examples to using that for Derby examples.
Yeah, sure. We can update them to use Eraser Highway.
That might be good.
Okay. Cool.
Does
And
it
like
really work well?
yeah, like it works well because we have tested it for 2 weeks now, and we got rid of, like, I guess all of the bugs as of now, because we had a really big load testing. Especially this week, we had like 70 people changing the same document at once, and it was working fine. So
Okay,
it's pretty stable.
Cool.
Nice. Cool. Well, we're about out of time. Any last questions, statements, things to show the group?
Not for me.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Dennis, you should show something off sometime.
Okay.
Put you on the spot. Maybe come back and do a demo of something that you built.
Okay. Next week I'll try to show something.
You should. It'd be great.
That's cool.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Thank
See you
you.
guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.